What's the book you would like to write that you haven't gotten to yet? What's it about?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm writing. It's called Heaven is Down a Dirt Road.
Heaven is Down a Dirt Road.
Yeah. And my daddy and my grandmother and numerous relatives, when they went to heaven, they went from a dirt road. And so a long time ago, I sort of got this thought in my head that heaven was down a dirt road. But it's not always the smoothly paved. None of them ever sat in a lap of luxury on the way out. You know what I'm saying? But the book that I want to write, Heaven is Down a Dirt Road, is around the whole idea of a young man in the Appalachia, who lives there, and his whole journey is his mother went to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's kind of an socially awkward young man. And nobody really knows if he's really smart or really not.
Right.
And but he has these dreams and visions and stuff. And he'll go up in the hills sometimes, just in his own season of mourning. And there's a place up there he calls it the Praying Rock. And he'll go up there and stay for weeks at a time. And because he's a mountain boy in the 1870s, and so he's raised up in the mountains. We got a beautiful sister and a brother-in-law and a family unit there, but he just goes and hides away. And he has a dream one time, and he finds himself standing in the middle of a road in the north of Wales, and he sees a one-eyed man on a horse coming toward him. And this one-eyed man on the horse asks him, "Can I help you?" And he said, "Well, I'm looking for heaven. I understand my mother went there." And the old man turns out to be Christmas Evans. And Christmas Evans looks at him, and he said they always said he only had one eye, but it was a piercer. And so he looked at him with this piercing.
He got the most use out of it he possibly could.
He could. He's never been of that eyeball. But he said, yes. He says, when you get to heaven, the streets are paved with gold, but heaven is down a dirt road. And so about that time, after he says that, young Elijah hears this sound, and then a young girl standing beside of him says, "Could you hand me my tablet? Hand me my..." And he looks down, and he picks up this instrument. And it's a tabret, which is an Old Testament tabret, timbrels and tambourines.
Right.
And when he picks it up, he looks, and there's thousands of people around him.
So he's in a completely different place suddenly. Completely
different place, and he looks, and here comes a young man dancing like a wild man, and thousands of people are dancing. We have instruments and all this, and he is on the road from Obed-Edom's house to Mount Zion when the ark is being brought back in the time of David.
Led by the king.
Yeah.
Right.
And he don't know any of this, but this young Rebecca starts telling him what all the instruments are and walks him through. These are the songs. This is Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman. You need to know these guys.
They write the songs that come from the Lord.
Yeah, here's Ethan, one of the greater poets. And so she's, for 2 weeks, he spends there in Zion after he meets Michal, David's wife. He gets to have conversation with these people and learn the instruments they play and how they write the songs. And how did they set this whole thing up? And he falls in love with Rebecca, of course, and then he wakes up and he tries to go and explain this to his family. So through that book, in the next place you find him is sitting on the second row in the Ryman Auditorium when Hank Williams walks on the stage in 1949. And there's blue lights appear that are not in the stage lights that they still can't explain to this day. And it's some of the legend behind the Hank Williams story.
Really?
Which is Welsh. He's Welsh.
Really? Isn't that powerful?
Yeah. And so, again, goes back to the land of song and the land of the singing revivals that have carried the poet preachers for all these thousands of years that move beyond just pulpit prowess that we hear today and these charismatic catchphrases and religious rhetoric stuff,
Right.
These guys didn't preach like that. Right. So I want to take this young man on his journey, and everywhere he goes, he knows when he hears the sound that somehow he figures out that it's covenantally connected to the blood that's coming through the singers and the land that their blood comes from. Because covenant is, when you think of God's covenant, it's simply God says, I'll be your God, you be my people, and I'll be in your midst. And we don't always, maybe we don't fully understand. And I get the license in a novel to do that. Ask the questions that nobody, what does it really mean in their midst? Is that just something that happened that day?
The Lord your God in the midst of you, it means your literal center. That word midst means your literal center.
Yeah. So we get to explore those ideas through the world of music.
Right.
And then he's sitting at a train stop one day, and he realizes that just stepped off the train, and Bangor, Wales, is the Maharishi and 4 young musicians from Liverpool whose vision and goal is to redefine music and take over the world with sound.
Wow.
Because in the invocation...
The Beatles.
Yeah. And there was an invocation even at Woodstock that says we're going to change the world through sound, and here come the seed words that will change the world. And this Sri guy had 500,000 young people of a youth of a generation to do a chant. Well, why don't we explore what that means? And it was a sound of seed words that shifted a generation's understanding of who they were.
Right.
You know, well, this fella gets to go to all those places and explore the possibilities of what happened when Richie Haven, for example, opened with a pure Hebrew expression of music right after that guy on the stage at Woodstock.
Wow.
So kind of a time travel, musicology, and the biblical value of sound and worship.
That's right.